Okay, class, today is a very exciting day because today we are going to start weaving our clay looms that we created. When it is done and you have Mod Podged it so it's shiny and it is dry, we can start working on our loom. You are going to need a piece of string. I did 2 arms length to get this piece of string, and I also, at the one end, put a piece of tape to make it like a stiff needle that I can put through the holes. You need to inspect your holes and make sure that they're all open. Some of you may have them partially open and you may have to put a tool in there to kind of crack it open. If it is completely closed, you will need to talk to me and we're going to have to do some problem solving. For those of you that are doing a circle loom, I will show a video on that separately. For just the straight loom across, I have 6 holes. I am going to start by, once my string is ready, I'm going to tape the end that doesn't have the tape. So I'm going to get a piece of tape and tape it to my back where I can't see the tail sticking out. I don't want to do it close to the holes because I want to be able to put this through. I'm going to then put my needle that I made with tape through my hole and pull my string all the way through. We are making the warp. The warp is the yarn that is holding the other yarn, so it's kind of essentially the loom itself. So we have our clay loom, and part of that loom is to have this warp thread so that we can have something to weave on. So I go straight across to the other side and I pull it through, and I am going to, from here, don't go in the front because you're just going to end up wrapping this around. We don't want to see any of that mess. So you're going to actually flip it over and go through the hole next to it and pull it through. And then you go across, kind of like when we learned the circle looming in 2nd grade. You go in, across the street, and pull it through. Mine's getting tangled here. Pull it through, and then we need to come out this neighbor here. So we're going to go in the hole next to it. We're going to go in from the back and cross the street. Make sure you can see I'm always pulling it tight instead of leaving it loose. I'm making sure that my loom is nice and tight. So I'm going to tug on these to pull them to make sure that it's not, you don't want your loom saggy like that. You want to make sure it's nice and tight. Go from the back, pull it tight, go in the front, and then you come out from the back. So I'm not even going to flip it over, I'm just going to kind of find it, pull it through, nice and tight. In, I only have 2 left. And when I get to the end, before I'm going to tape this down on the other side, I really want to make sure that my loom is nice and tight. So I'm going to pull this thread through, and then I'm going to check them. I'm going to start over here and kind of just tug them till they're nice and tight. And see all this slack on that I had just by doing that? I'm going to pull it, keep it nice and tight, and on the back, I'm going to get another piece of tape and tape it down. Then I will cut now that it's secure and tight. Okay, so I have my warp, the strings that create what I can weave through. Now I am going to get a new color of string. I'm going to try this. I kind of wanted to stick with my greens and blues to go with my loom. So I am going to cut an arm's length of this yarn to start my weaving. And to start my weaving, there's a couple things you could do. If you want to, you can secure it with a knot, or you can just leave a tail and just start weaving, but it might slide out on you. So I'm going to make a knot. Just tie a knot around this first warp. Okay, make a knot and cut the little extra tail off. And now I can start to weave with this. Now I'm looking at this. You might want, if this doesn't seem long enough, if you want to do this green or this blue color for a while, you might want 2 arms length. So it just depends on how much of this color you want to do. So I'm going to go under, over, under, over, under, over. So everyone was opposite. And I pull it through. And this should be a review for you. Now I don't want to pull too tight because you can see how it pulls the warp string. I want to keep it nice and straight. Now when I come back around, this is super important. If I go under, I'm just going to undo everything I did. it has to be opposite. So this string is under this warp. I'm going to go over it now. It is the opposite than last time. Over, under, and pull it through. Again, I'm not going to pull too, if I pull too tight, it pulls this warp. So I'm going to just kind of push it down, and I'm going to turn around and go the other way. If it helps you to have a little tape on the end to make another needle, you can wrap a piece of tape on the end to make something that might be easier to go through the warp. This string is called the weft because I always remember it goes left and right, left and right. So it's called the weft. Now I went under there, so I'm gonna go over this warp, under the next one, over, under, and I pull it through. And each time I'm pushing it down. I want it tight, but again, I don't want it to be pulling. So I'm gonna kind of straighten it out, and I go back the other way, over, under. Every row has to be opposite the row before it. At a certain point, if I'm ready to change colors, I can just make sure you have enough string left. I think I could. I'm going to switch colors. So if I want this green to be next, I am going to line up the ends of my string, and I'm going to make a big circle and pull it through. So I'm just making a knot. The ends stay together. It makes it much easier to snip the ends and continue to work. I'm going to cut my green one. And if I want to make a new piece of tape for the end, I can do that for my weaving. Now I have a new color I'm going to be doing. So I go over, under, and just keep saying that to yourself. Remember what to do next. And if you're like, but I don't know what to do going back this way, well, I ended with under this warp, so I have to start with over it. Under, under. Pull it through, and hopefully pretty soon you will see the green start to. And at any point you want to switch colors, you can. And it's good to kind of tuck the knot down underneath so you don't see it. And again, if you pull too tight, it's going to pull that warp, so I kind of want to keep it sort of straight. And I'm going to keep on working this till I get to the very top. Everyone should look a little different. We all have a different number of holes, so everybody's weaving will probably look a bit different. But you can see how I've pushed it down, kept it loose so the ends aren't pulling. Have fun weaving.